Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Fishing with James. This is episode 10 of my hand-tied jig series, and today I'm going to be showing you how to tie a crappie jig that I call Purple Shad. So let's go ahead and get started. The jig head I'm going to be using today is a 1/16 ounce jig head with a number 4 sickle hook. I painted this with ProTec Disco Silver paint and put some purple eyes on the side. So as always, we're going to start out by lining a little layer of super glue from the head of the jig all the way down even with the point of the hook. Next, we're going to take our thread and wrap it from the head also down even with the point of the hook. The thread I'm using today is Danville's 2-tin denier flat wax nylon. I've been using this stuff a lot lately and I really like it. Now I'm just going to take my scissors and cut the tag into the thread. This is also when I take a small piece of paper towel and dab up any extra super glue that may be left over. I do this so that in case I misplaced a feather, it doesn't get stuck to the hook. For the tail for this jig, I'm just going to be using a gray Marabou feather. For the sizing, we want it to be about the length of the hook, and once we have it right, we're just going to take it, lay it onto the jig, and take our thread and tightly wrap this feather into the jig a few times just so that it doesn't come loose. And once we've verified that it is the right length, which it is, I'm going to take my thread and slowly start wrapping it up to the head of the jig to tie the feather in. Then I'm just going to take my scissors and cut the feather off at the head and take my thread and wrap the feather down and up a little bit more just to make sure it's not going to come loose. Now for the flash, I'm going to be using this purple and green crystal flash. I think this stuff's really going to match this jig well, so I'm going to take a full strand of it. I'm going to cut that strand in half, then I'm going to take that half strand and cut it in half again. That way I have two pieces of flash on either side of the jig, just like this. Now I'm just going to take the thread and start wrapping it down the flash to tie it in. As you can see, I'm trying to hold it on both sides of the jig just so it stays even. I'm going to take my thread and wrap it all the way down where I've wrapped everything else, and then I'm just going to wrap it back up to the head of the jig, and it leaves you with flash on both sides of the jig just like this. Next, I'm going to take my scissors and cut off the flash just past the feather to size it up. For the chenille for this jig, I'm going to be using some Purple Crush custom chenille in medium size. So I'm going to start by tying in the chenille to the hook and wrapping it all the way down, even with where I've wrapped everything else. I turn the jig sideways here so I can see exactly where I'm wrapping it to. Then I'm going to go back up to the head of the jig with my thread. Now for my favorite part, this is where everything comes together. I'm going to start taking my chenille and wrapping it all the way up to the head of the jig. I want to make sure to layer it a little bit so it has a nice uniform appearance all the way up. And once I get it up to the head of the jig and it looks uniform, I'm going to say that's good right there. I'm going to take my thread and start tying the chenille into the jig by going over and under it a few times on either side. This just makes sure that it tightens the chenille down to the jig really nicely. Next, I'm going to take my scissors and cut off the excess chenille and pull off any fuzzy bits that might be left behind. Finally, I'm going to take my finishing tool and do a double whip finish. So I'm going to do 4 or 5 wraps here on the first time. Pull it tight, then I'm going to do another 4 or 5 wraps on the second time and pull it tight as well. Then I'm just going to take my scissors and cut the thread, and there you have it, a Purple Shad crappie jig. Now all that's left to do is bag this jig up, put a sticker on the bag, and these things are ready to get out and catch some crappie. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe, and if you're interested in checking these jigs out for yourself, head over to our Facebook page by clicking the link in the description and make yourself an order. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you in the next episode of Hand Tied Jigs.